Now let's welcome back to our show, back on the couch, former CIA director under Bill Clinton, and now Donald Trump supporter, James Woolsey. James, do you think the response is something that would be effective to stop the attack? Do you feel like we know enough about this guy?
Well, I think the police and FBI and the people who are working on it in New Jersey and New York did a good job here. I mean, we ought to realize that the coordination is paid off in some of the criticisms of law enforcement.
And the communication. They rounded up that car on the Bell Parkway with the family members before they got him.
Right. And that's getting better. But it's like playing goalie in hockey, and if the other team gets a single score, you lose. You have to stop every shot. And that's hard. And so one will get through here one of these days. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm afraid I'm not going to be.
Sure, and you know, we think we do have the greatest intelligence agencies in the world here in the United States, but sometimes, you know, he was out there doing stuff and we didn't find him.
Sure. Yeah, it'll happen. And I think part of the problem is that we aren't applying overall to intelligence, and even anymore to policing in our big cities, the sort of operation that Giuliani and Kelly did in New York with the broken windows syndrome.
Well, you know why.
Well, it's politically incorrect, and political incorrectness is our great problem. As long as we have to talk about things in a politically correct way, and we can't say that it's Islamic terror and so on, we are causing ourselves a massive amount of trouble. There's virtually nothing that's worse than political correctness if you're trying to understand what's going on in something like a movement like radical Islam.
Did you agree with Josh Earnest when he said we're fighting a war of narratives against ISIS?
He misspelled narrative. For them, I think narrative is spelled L-I-E.
Well, for the folks who didn't hear him yesterday, he was on a couple of different channels pushing this. Here's Josh Earnest spinning.
In some ways, this is actually just a war of narratives. And so we want to make sure that we're getting out our counter-narrative against ISIL. When it comes to ISIL, we are in a fight, a narrative fight with them, a narrative battle.
So they've got a really good story, and we need to have a good story, too.
The mind reels. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's not just a PR matter. It's not a matter of ratings. It's a matter of life and death. And as long as you operate in such a way as you start with the narrative, and then you try to make the facts fit the narrative.
Well, this administration has done that.
It's a JV
whole time.
A lot. They did it with Benghazi. They did it with a lot of things. And that's a sure way to deceive yourself into not taking the actions that you have to take.
But you think about this. Josh Earnest could not answer the question to Martha McCallum, did the president reach out to the governors of New Jersey and New York, one of which is a Democrat? He could not answer the question, will the president be addressing this today? He was in New York City. He was in New York City when the bomb hit. Right. He was in New York City when the chase was going on. Right. And when he came in front of the cameras, he did not even know that the 28-year-old had been apprehended. He says he's staying up to date on everything. The crawl underneath him showed something that he wouldn't even reveal or didn't know.
Suppose we had fought World War II this way. We would be sitting around here pledging allegiance to Hitler's heirs, I would think.
We're trying to win the narrative against the Nazis. We'd have a strong case to make, but first you have to kill them.
Exactly. First you have to win the war. You have to fight effectively. You have to level with the world at what's going on. And what's going on is a rather large chunk of Islam is radical and is focused, some of them, on violence. And it doesn't help to ignore that. Indeed, it hurts a lot in understanding what's
James,
going on.
why are you supporting Donald Trump if you served under Bill Clinton?
Well, I served under Clinton, under Reagan, under Bush 1, and under Carter. So I'm an old Scoop Jackson Democrat. I've worked for both parties in government. And of the two candidates, I thought he would definitely be the better president. I trust him to call it straight. Maybe he will sometimes call it in such a way that it's either amusing or embarrassing, but I think he'll call it straight.
Despite your relationship with the Clinton family?
I don't really
He never saw you. He never saw you when you were the CIA director.
Well, he saw me in National Security Council meetings, but we didn't have one-on-one sessions. And indeed, when that little plane crashed into the south lawn of the White House in '94, the White House staff joke was, that must be Woolsey still trying to get an appointment with Clinton.
Which is tragic because Bin Laden was coming up with plots and plans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to be with you guys.
All right.